I could try again. We're in time to try. Can you hear us now, Cassie? I hope.
Yep, I can hear you guys now.
Okay, thanks. It's because soon we're turning to a Verizon commercial. We don't want that.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, so first up would be abstract approval. So I'll move that.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that was a tie.
Yes.
Right, and then the next we have a budget modification. Dun, dun. That's just from 2,000 from supervisor travel to contractual. 7,000 from legal to independent audit. 1,000 from IT equipment to judgments and claims. 75,000 from fund balance. SF1. That's from fire fund balance to WB Strong. That's from last year's budget, right? Yeah.
No. Extra that you, the town gave rebuild.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was after, back in January, right?
Supplemental.
And then 5,500 from workers comp to fire prevention contractual. So I'll move those.
Second.
No, we can just do it all. We can just do it all at once. Um, 4 pages of it. No, oh, right. Duh. 5,000 from cleaning to 5,000 public works, 43,000. 372.94 to both road improvements, personnel and OT. Or personnel and OT, and then from interfund revenue and interest to medical insurance, it's a total of 14,418 and 32 cents. And then from interfund revenue to sanitary sewer and personal services, DPW. That's sewer, the SS8 sewer. And then from records management to seasonal help, 44,684. And rec from miscellaneous grants to community music, total of 855. So I'll move all those.
Second.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, all right. Then we have your resolution to approve prepayment in abstract 12. An invoice for the New York State retirement system for $341,274. It has to be received by December 13th. And the board so we're approving the prepayment before the December 12th meeting for abstract 12. We'll move that.
Second.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then the next one is
standard work, it depends on, for the elected officials, it depends on either they're newly elected or a new term and their current one expired. Okay, but you'll see them fairly often, but this is a special case that we have a miscalculation and we need to approve this correction. We need to approve the correction, basically. That's why you're saying this again so soon for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna move this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Great. All right, so the next thing that's on here is this, well, we have no, we don't have a final decision yet from Freeville's, or did,
Oh, no, it was dropped off today.
it was dropped off today?
Yep.
So they met.
You didn't read my email.
No, I was busy trial prepping, so.
Well, I took time out from teaching.
Yep. So we will continue it. Okay, great, all right, so. As we continued it, I can, unless we have any further comments, and suppose, does anybody else have any comment on the easements? Because this has been open since last month.
It's for the rail trail.
Rail trail easement.
Village of Freeville, around the village
Well, and the village of Dryden as well,
and the village park.
so.
May sound simple, but it was really complicated.
And we'll have to do it in two separate resolutions, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna close the public hearing and. So the first one would be. Okay, so this first one I'm gonna show is between the town of Dryden and the village of Dryden. Oh, someone's got on.
Yeah,
What was that? What was that?
No. Jim Shark Trail is part of the Dryden Rail Trail.
Yeah.
Maybe the smaller ones.
Yeah, I mean, let's not, it's.
We're not renaming it.
Yeah,
Honor Jim Shark.
right. Yeah, this is just so that for the state, when the state wants us to have control.
We gotta show that we have the easements to spend state money.
Right.
It's only a grant.
Because the village is on the trail property within the town.
Right. Right, so this one that's up here right now is between the town of Dryden and the village of Dryden. All right, so I'll move,
I'll
Yes.
second that.
yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
yes, all right. And then the second one here is between the village of Freeville and the village of Dryden, I mean, the town of Dryden. And they just approved this.
This morning.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll move this as well.
Second that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
I can get your signature tonight before you go.
Yeah.
I'll get one of your.
Hallelujah.
All right, so then next up, we have the continuation of the public hearing for the Morris Road special use permit on the solar project. So. Can you, is your computer under Matthew?
Yes.
Yeah. So you'd be able to share if you need to share anything. Where are you at? He's on the Zoom. So.
I see. Are we ready to let them start?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so just to recap, Matt Mahealy with Delaware River Solar, have our engineer Usman Chaudhry from PW Grosser. We're proposing the Morris Road Solar Project. Located off of Morris Road. It's a 5 megawatt AC community solar project. And of course, we've been in front of the town since April 2024. We believe we've made some substantial progress through multiple revisions of the site plan with the planning board and at the town level. We've also been working diligently with the town consulting engineer, TG Miller. And we feel we've made great progress and are in a position to bring the project to fruition. And, ultimately tonight, we're respectfully requesting the town board to close the public hearing, make a secret determination, and vote on the approval of our project. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Ray, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am.
All right.
So this is for seeker would be our first step after we close the public hearing. If there's anyone else there in the
Yeah. Did we have any
courtroom tonight.
from anyone in the public here about this? Any further comment? Or anyone on Zoom? Okay, not seeing any, I'm gonna close the public hearing. And Ray, did we get any comments in by email since the last meeting?
We have not. So Patrick King is also on the call from TG Miller. They've done most of the review and have prepared the seeker part 2 and 3 drafts. And if Patrick wants to share anything, you'd have to make him co-host.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Patrick King here. Just representing TG Miller, and I'm sure all of you guys have seen the shared documents, part 2 and 3, as well as the part 3 attachment. Just to give you guys a refresher, what we typically do when the town brings a project to us is we go through the part 2, we highlight any small impacts or check the moderate to large impacts, and then just provide a justification how the developer has addressed these concerns. Happy to walk through any of those if you guys want any more detail or if you haven't had a chance to look at that.
Anybody have any?
I would just ask Patrick about the turbidity question. I think that's on. Not bad. What number was it? I think it's H and number 3H.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was in relation to during construction, the opportunity for erosion it's always a reality of any construction project that involves soil disturbance. With a project like this that, involves some grading and installation of access drive, you are going to get that ground disturbance. And, we've been back and forth with Usman and Matt and the design team here. And what they've done is they've updated their erosion and sediment control plan to be a phased approach so that the level of disturbance will be less than 5 acres for each phase. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 8 phases, so that you have limited ground disturbance at once. I think total ground disturbance could be upwards of 30 acres. But again, they're going to disturb less than 5 acres at a time, stabilize, move on to the next phase.
And
And I-
that goes, item E, right? In that section, and not just E, but there are 2 erosion items in number 3.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, H, talking about.
3E and then 3H, and 3E is moderate to large, and so that's
Right.
why I've got to ask the question.
True. Yep.
And then the turbidity and excess runoff towards the lake are a big issue in that part of the watershed.
Right. Yeah. And part of that plan too is when things aren't stabilized, it's implementing sediment traps, diversion swales to get any sort of runoff into these temporary basins where the sediment can settle. And silt fence is a common treatment that you see on construction sites like this. And they've got those included in their details. A stabilized construction entrance composed of large aggregate to keep, soil and mud and debris from getting tracked out onto Morris Road. Those are all key components to limit that amount of erosion and offsite water quality impacts.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And yeah, anytime you have disturbance over an acre, you're pushed into weekly SWIP inspections where a qualified inspector will go out there and document, any sort of runoff offsite, and that will get submitted to code enforcement, and enforcement actions are typically done within a business day.
Yeah, just to add to that, what Patrick said is like we're limited any disturbance to less than 5 acres. Inspections are a part of that. That's gonna happen weekly. There's a format with our SWIP that how the inspection report's gonna look like. There's gonna be pictures on it. There's gonna be, write down notes on it. If something's it needs to be fixed, like a silt fence is not properly standing, that needs to be conveyed to the PM. That's gonna be a site for the construction to fix it, because otherwise you're gonna be in violation of what you write down for the SWIP if any discharges are happening.
That's great to hear. All right. You want to go through this section by section, or just if
Yeah.
anything comes up? I mean,
I'll show in part 2 first and just go through it. I mean, I'm just gonna show it on the screen, but if I'm not gonna read everyone, just someone on the board's got a question or comment about something. But we were just talking about things in, I think it was, well, this is part 1, the impact on land.
Yeah.
Part 2. I mean, there's nothing checked off for geological features. Surface water is what you were just talking
Yeah.
about.
yeah, I got ahead.
No groundwater impact. No flooding impact. No air impact. There's small impacts on plants and animals.
So it's probably a typo, but under K1, it's checked moderate, to small, but there's nothing listed
Talking about,
in section 3.
Section 3.
yeah,
Is that a typo or something supposed to be written in there? I guess that's my question.
the other impacts.
Probably just a misclick.
Yeah, it's just color forms.
That's not where you forgot to put nuclear waste. No, okay.
Okay,
Still missing. You're a tough audience tonight.
all right, so back to ag resources. Aesthetic resources, I mean, it's checked off yes, but it's all marked as small.
Mhm.
Small impact, and you had I guess as far as visibility goes, you're behind tree lines, so.
Planning board worked you guys pretty good on that. And you responded very well in terms of sight lines.
No impact on historic or archaeological resources. None on open space, recreation. None on critical environmental areas. Nothing, no transportation impacts, no energy impacts, it's not gonna cause an increase in use. Noise, odor, light impacts, says yes, but the sound levels because of the transformers.
I think it's just, Patrick can clear this up, but I think it's mostly because of the during construction activities, there might be some, because the machinery, other than that, there's no light kind of proposed at the site. There's no order that's gonna be generated by solar, so noise, Patrick can clarify a little bit.
Yep, it was just construction noise, temporary construction noise.
No impact on health. And it's consistent with the community plan, so. Just around it is farmland. Is that why it's checked? Moderate to
Different
large,
use, yeah.
yeah. And consistent with community character. Any comments from anybody about that, any of these? Okay,
Just remind me, are you leasing or owning this property? You're leasing it.
so you have all the removable bonds and all that in place. Yep. Yeah, and then this is part 3, so there's an attachment A, so I'm gonna just go to that.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is a description of the project and
Yeah, this attachment A basically walks through anything that was checked as a small or moderate to large impact on part 2, and then talks through why it was checked as yes, and then what was done to address that and mitigate that concern.
okay. Does anybody have any comments or amendments to uh, section 1? Section 3 is the surface water bit that Dan was going through already. About section 7. It's the plant animal impact.
Oh, good. Oh, these questions, I've already been in meetings where these questions came up and
Yeah.
it's all consistent with what was presented earlier in meetings.
Anything for number 8, it's the impact on ag resources. Anything about number 9? Page 9 is where the screening is described. So and what about number 15, anything? 17. Um, 18. Mm. Mm. Okay. Right, so then we're just ready for the first resolution. So that would be the resolution to lead agency designation and negative declaration of environmental significance. So move this.
Councilperson Martin,
Yes.
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 Yes. Alright. And the second resolution. It's the resolution to approve the site plan and granting a special use permit for a large scale solar energy system at 30 Morris Road. Um. And this lists out the all the items that were in the original packet in April. Items from June, June and May revisions. July responses. As the project description, the history of the application. Then the states out the standard of review and the findings. Anybody have anything so far on this?
No, so consistent with our process. There. Our scale a little bit, solar law. How visible will the fence be? I know you have screening for the panels, but and you worked with the planning board on the materials used in the fence, but I'm just curious if you're going on Morse Road or on was it West Malloryville Road, would you see the fence?
No,
No, it's a deer fence.
yeah, no, project is way down from the roads and it's on the side behind the trees. It's like a mountain on one side, like a hill.
And the fence is up to keep deer out, but
Yeah.
people as well from wandering in there.
Yeah.
Just
It's
causing
prob-
mischief.
Yeah, it's gonna be like about, by design, I think it's like 5 inches lifted from the ground for small like mammals and
That's-
stuff to
okay,
pass
so-
through. It's 8 feet tall for deer and
Our
people not.
our rabbits and our foxes will be able to get through.
Yeah.
They're important to our constituency.
What, the rabbits or the?
A rabbit vote.
Rabbits.
What about the fox though?
This is my neighborhood. We have a lot of those coyotes. It's a pretty active area.
Yeah. Right, so I'm gonna move this resolution.
I second.
Actually, Jason, can
Yeah.
you hear me? Yeah, I'm sorry for this late discovery, but I just see we should probably add a resolve that authorizes the supervisor to sign documents that would execute this approval. I don't see a language in there.
Separate resolution.
That'd be 19.
Or one of the resolves that the town board authorizes the supervisor to execute documents pertaining to this approval. Because there will be things like the decommissioning agreement and agreements that have to be signed by both parties.
Okay, good catch.
Pretty standard.
Mm. So just add that to the last resolve, just end.
Hmm.
Yeah, or add to the third one.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll add it to the third resolve. Okay, so move with that amendment.
Second.
Councilperson Martin's Mendo.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
You guys are gonna miss coming here, right?
Absolutely.
It's only taken 7 months.
Yeah, about that.
Did you initially approach the landlord? I mean, this has nothing to do with anything at this point. I'm just curious, how did the relationship with the landowner start?
We usually have like land agents, so we're looking at the interconnection,
Yeah.
hosting capacity maps, in the NYSEG territory for capacity. And if, when we identify sites that, look feasible from site characteristic perspective in terms of topography and overall lay of the land, we'll send out, land agents to knock on doors and, facilitate interest with the landowners for leasing solar farms.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Thank you.
right, so next up, there's a petition for a speed limit reduction and presentation. Is it, Mrs. Endler and Mr. Earl?
Soccer, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to make a tackle and didn't make it. I tried to get up and
You didn't get
didn't
up
make it
either.
a second time.
Recovery be swift.
I'm waiting, but thanks.
Yeah, so, yeah, thanks for coming and presenting this to us.
Yeah, so thank you, members of the board, for providing us, me and my neighbors, the space to present our concerns to you this evening. I'm here as a deeply concerned community member who no longer feels safe in my home due to the roads on which it is located. My home at 607 West Dryden Road was directly hit in a fatal two-vehicle accident that occurred on October 30th. This was the second severe accident my husband and I have witnessed on our front steps since we bought our home in November of 2022. I also just want to pause. Am I okay to jump into this? I didn't really ask.
Do we have your name and your?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Christina Endler.
Okay, Christine.
Yep, 607 West Dryden Road, and this is Brian Earl.
Sorry. Okay, so sorry.
Yeah, I spoke to them on the phone, so.
Yeah, I've been calling everybody.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, several of our neighbors have also had traumatizing experiences of vehicles running into their properties, into their buildings, and causing severe destruction. It's a sobering reality for our community that our lives and our property are at impending risk due to the high speed of vehicular movement on our road. In 2023, the Ithaca-Tompkins County Transportation Council analyzed vehicle crash data gathered from the New York Department of Transportation from the years of 2018 through 2022 and released its findings via the Ithaca Voice in December of 23. When we were looking through this report, I wasn't surprised to find that West Dryden Road was mentioned 10 times. So a couple of examples, the intersection of West Dryden Road and Sheldon ranked 5th out of 20 of Tompkins County intersections with the highest severity rates, first out of 10 in the town of Dryden. The intersection of West Dryden Road and Hanshaw ranked 9th out of 20 of Tompkins County intersections with the highest severity crashes and 3rd out of 10 in the town of Dryden. The road segment on West Dryden Road between Sheldon and Caswell is also featured on this report. Between the years of 2018 and 2022, there were 28 reported crashes, 4 resulting in minor injury, 2 resulting in serious injury, and 22 resulting in property damage. Over the last 15 days, my neighbors and I have collected over 70 signatures from concerned residents of West Dryden Road and some connecting roads, and we intend to continue to collect signatures and spread awareness. We're here to formally request resolution to lower the speed limit on the entirety of West Dryden Road from 55 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour. Our lives should never be seen as collateral damage in the face of speed and traffic flow. If you believe in the safety and rights of our community, I urge you to move forward with resolution. And all that said, I also want to thank the board and Rick and whoever was involved in getting the flashing light on Sheldon and West Dryden. That was really
good.
reassuring to see.
That was remarkable speed for any governmental agencies. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Rick.
I'd just like to add, my wife and I have lived there for over 52 years in our home, which used to be the parsonage for the church.
Mhm.
And I was also treasurer of the community association. And the church used to have a really nice picket fence on 2 sides, east and south. And after it being destroyed 3 times, we just packed it up and got rid of it because it was just too much trouble. Even though we got insurance money, it just wasn't worth it. Right? Our house has been hit. We had a maple tree completely taken out by a 10-wheel dump truck. Our corner porch post was completely taken out in an accident, and an accident that was really fortunately not a fatality. One went through our rail fence in front of our house, and the upper rail of the fence went diagonally through his car from the driver's side to the right rear passenger side. And it's just a miracle it didn't go through his head. So we hear the crash and look out, and here's a car in our driveway with this fence rail going right through it. So, and we've replaced our rail fence 3 times as a result of accidents at the corner. And the thing that's changed so much is the speed and traffic. When we moved there, our neighbors would ride down the middle of the road with their horses and stop and talk to us on our front porch. And it was just never, ever thought of that being an issue whatsoever. And it increased, especially when the construction was being done on Route 13. People really saw West Dryden as a shortcut, and it just never backed off after that. And I've also tried to spend some time at some of the intersections, just trying to figure out what's going on. And now tractor trailers are coming off Route 13 up Hanshaw Road and then turning west and going somehow to Trip Hammer or Asbury Road using Hanshaw on West Dryden, which seems absurd, but it must be a Google map feature.
It's a map problem. People are finding the
Yeah.
fastest route and that's how it's discovered. You won't have any pushback from us on this, and we're all very concerned about this. I think Jason's already been in touch with our county rep. I talked to our county administrator last week about this. The county's aware of the problem. It's a county road.
Yep.
I commute on that road from McLean to campus, and I'll say this, it seems like part of the problem is people don't stop at Sheldon when they're coming on to Sheldon and there's a stop sign. I wasn't speeding, but I had somebody roll through that and it was very close to an accident
Yeah.
about
All
5
of
months
our-
ago.
All of our neighbors look both ways as they're.
Yeah, but
traveling on.
we need
West
people to
Dryden.
stop and before,
And a lot of accidents aren't even recorded at that intersection. We'll hear the squeal of tires and look out. And somebody's done a 180 in the road trying to miss somebody, and they both wave certain fingers at each other and yell and scream and then back it up and leave. And
I don't know if that was me, but I was not happy with this guy who ran that. And yeah, we had a little relationship for the next couple miles.
yeah, yeah, I actually followed a car all the way to Morrisburg Warner once after a
Yeah.
particularly insane action on their part.
Yeah.
So reducing speed, I don't know if we can pull off a stopped light, but we gotta make people stop. Maybe painting the road, stop, could be a thing we could do on Sheldon Road.
Well, the flashing stop sign gives me hope.
Yeah.
Really, but the speed. As long as they're going so fast, my wife and I ended up putting a turnaround in our driveway. Because you could back out the driveway and nobody's coming, absolutely nobody. And before you go 30 feet, there's somebody just ripping right down on your bumper, and it's just dangerous.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
When
Yeah,
somebody
it's one of the
sees a
longest straightaways, because
Yeah.
they had a lot of, there's many of these around, but like the weekend that's happened, I think I was telling, I don't remember, I told one of you, like when I was taking Daniel, my son, out driving on the west side of the lake, and then telling them about exactly these kind of crossroads. So that slow down, so you don't get hit from the other side.
Yeah.
So it's kind
And
of,
I just want to note too, when I talked to Jeff Smith about all of this and we kind of went back and forth on different solutions. I first proposed a 4-way stop, but he made the point that because the road is what it is, it's super straight, that a 4-way might result in more fatalities and serious injuries. Which, so my thought process is we lower the speed limit to 45, but I personally don't intend on stopping working towards change, because I think it's going to take more than that. To me, reducing the speed to 45 makes it so these people who are T-boned aren't projectiles into my front door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and we understand that even reducing it to 45, people are going to be going 55 still. But the fact of the matter is right now, people are going like 80 down that road.
Yeah.
It is so scary. And yeah, so this is just like the first step. I anticipate being at more of these meetings even after hopefully the speed limit is lowered.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry you're
you.
going through this.
yeah, so,
Appreciate any
Um,
help you can give us.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
and thank you. So we need, I guess, to pass it's a resolution.
Calling on the county.
Calling on the county to, well, saying that we're gonna attach the petition
If we had signatures. for
Yeah.
those, it would be nice if they're.
Yeah.
To send everybody.
Yeah, so Chris,
But
Christine,
it seems
you
to
had-
be aware.
you had photos and things that you were telling me about, and I think the signatures that you wanted us to send along to the county too, or did you already send them to Jeff Smith?
So I, and like speaking to Jeff, I am intending on pulling together like a binder with pictures. of
Okay.
the vehicles in question. I don't know if I have to get permission from the vehicle owners to do that, and so that's something.
Oh,
But we're gathering more signatures, we're gathering pictures, I'm gathering like stories and testimonials from other people on West Island who have had.
okay.
Because that my heart is, I understand that this has to start with you guys, go to the county, and then it goes to the DOT.
Yeah.
I want to help and just put together this.
Okay.
And so usually we send that all together as a package. But
Okay.
being that they know it's coming, maybe we can send a resolution and
Yeah.
a request form
Yeah.
in advance. So one thing the request form asks is, like a distance. What, are you asking the entirety of West Jordan Road?
The
Yeah.
entirety.
Okay.
And Jeff is aware
I just
too.
need to.
Yeah, so it would be from what is the one down in Freeville, not 38. What's that?
Mill Street,
Well, West Riding goes.
West
right.
Ryan goes all the way to 38, yeah.
And then on the other end, it goes right and it turns into Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Farrell is not eligible.
no, it's, yeah, it changes names right there. So,
but yeah, it would be the entirety. And in the, I have an official petition document that I kind of have that written to. I think I emailed it to you more.
Yeah. okay,
But yeah, so Jeff knows, like, Jeff basically and Jason said that we should go ahead and present a resolution now, but then I
Yeah.
would be in contact with them to get everything else, but if
So I'll just add that in my letter transmittal that you're gonna put out.
Yeah.
Jeff directly.
okay. Cool, thank you. Yeah. All right, so I'll move the resolution to request a speed limit reduction for the entirety of West Dryden Road to 45 miles per hour.
Yes.
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 Yes. Cool. All right.
Question, when it goes to the DOT, will they look at other possible speed
Yeah.
reduction methodology in
They'll come out
addition?
and they'll do a speed.
First thing we'll get is a letter that says that we're taking you.
Okay,
Yeah,
But they'll do a study and they'll,
right,
Track how
so
many
it won't
cars.
just be speed, they'll look at other traffic calming opportunities when they do their study.
Wasn't that many years ago that the speed limit on a lot of the roads that intersect was changed to 45.
yeah,
But I think someone would have been reluctant to do it on West Dryden Road at that point because traffic people feel like it's more community, like.
yeah, no, DOT will come back and say it's a straightaway, there's lots of visibility. There's no need to lower the speed limit, that's possible.
Right,
yeah,
but there are a
It
lot
took
of accidents.
years to get the speed limit in Barnum down to 30.
yeah.
You just keep.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, this is similar to what happened, I think, at some point in Ellis Hollow Road, because that's now all, there's a couple of spots where it's 40 and others where it's 45, but it wasn't posted at one time.
I used to be 50, oh, it was unposted, yeah, so
Yeah.
55.
Yeah, and the same problem happens in Ellis Hollow, and there's the Quarry Road, Turkey Hill intersection has flashing lights for the stop sign too.
Stevenson's not posted.
But yeah, so we'll just keep pushing on.
So you put up flashing lights already, is that what I?
But pretty much stop cut signs.
Stop it,
Up and then put the flashing.
okay. Good, stop.
They're on board with alternative. to flash,
Yeah,
But it takes, obviously. You have to have a stake. for everything.
They put that flashing sign up on the north. And south on Shelby, not on the south side anymore.
That's on the other side of those.
That's where we get this.
Well, I've got DSLI, private set of signs, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Okay, all right, so then, all right, so we'll move to the next thing, it's two resolutions. One is to purchase the two vehicle purchases. So first one's for 2024 Chevy Silverado. Not to exceed $80,000 with funds from A 1490.2.
That's out of this year's budget.
Yep.
The Chevy Silverado.
Right, so I'll move that.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Right, and then the next one is a resolution to purchase two 2026 Western Star tandem axle cabs not to exceed $400,000. This is next year's budget.
This is next year's budget.
Okay, with funds, so from the 2025 budget with funds using DA 5130.2. So we'll move
They
that.
lifted the electric van for another year, so we are allowed to purchase these vehicles, and it is on the Onondaga County bid. So I'd like to get the two trucks ordered. We'll see them sometime next year. Like to get them ordered now before they're gone and our price goes up. Sometime next year, midsummer, so we'll get them. I'll probably get the bids, put the snowplow equipment on them. Because the last time we got the full bid. By the time the trucks came in and put the equipment on, they raised our bid by 17,000 or something like that, so I was gonna purchase the chassis. Now, when I get a firm price on the plow equipment, I was gonna come forward for that stuff. Which will be next year.
Okay.
And these trucks should arrive May, June of next year,
So combined, they're 400 or is it 400?
combined.
Okay.
Yeah, they're one,
Purchase of two for a combined total cost, okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Right. Okay.
That's it.
So I got,
have a great night.
okay,
Two.
saw Alice on there. We can do that now. Alice, did you, I saw you on, is it the grant announcement or something you want to make?
Yes, we just learned about 3:30 this afternoon that the town of Dryden did get awarded $175,000 grant, which will enable us to purchase 3 electric vehicles for the town. So one we know will be designated for the code enforcement officers. 2 will be for DPW, and we'll work with Rick to identify how he could use them. Just as a little bit of background, when we came to you earlier, we had expected that we might be able to target this money for upgrades at the DPW highway barn, both a building conditions assessment and an energy study and some energy upgrades there. And we just found out at the last minute last week that this grant money was rapidly depleting. There was $25 million in grants approved in December 2023 through the Clean Energy Communities Program, and it's almost used up. And so we could not make the timeline to get the energy study required to do the highway barn work. And luckily, the Climate Smart Task Force had a plan B, and we're ready to pivot to the to proposing the only other option for, that was open to us, because we've done so much already. Besides a building upgrade, was electric vehicle purchases. So we had that ready to go, but we don't have too many details exactly about how that will be spent. It's a nice addition. In a nice addition, we got another 10,000 earlier, and that will allow us to install an EV charging station at the highway barn. So so NYSERDA will be paying both for 2 electric vehicles and our ability to charge them. And all this is at no cost there's no match required on the part of the town. Thank you to Christina and all the members of the task force for making this happen.
How much was the total again, Alice?
175,000. If there's money left over, because we're able to negotiate some good deals on 3 all-electric vehicles like pickup trucks, we did put in a contingency that we could electrify some of our landscaping equipment. And so there's a possibility of some mowers or weed trimmers, all-electric chainsaws. So we will spend the total grant, even if we get a deal on the EVs.
That's
And then
good.
I'll
Yeah.
just say that this brings us to over $300,000 that the town of Dryden has benefited from the Clean Energy Communities program at New York State.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, that's some great work.
Yeah, that committee's doing great work and gives us a lot to brag about.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Sure, glad to be able to tell you about it. Right off the press.
Yeah.
So these
Alright.
vehicles will be for the highway department?
And one for code enforcement.
Okay, highway.
I actually asked Marty if the van that she uses might be something that she'd be interested in replacing, but she believes that the vehicle that she has is just fine and doesn't need to be replaced at this time. So we'll be looking more carefully at exactly which vehicles we replace.
Yep. Good. So it's something to look forward to, I guess, next year. So cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Sure.
All right. So it's Mike Lane. No, he's not here. Okay. He's probably at TC3 meeting. They have those on Thursdays. I don't know. We have them down for next week usually, but I don't know.
Yeah, we should pass a resolution in my.
Right. Okay, so next up, we're back to the budget discussion from last week. I know so,
It's done first.
huh? Oh, well, yeah, well, we have to, all right, well. Anyway, so Amanda found out, that we can, I guess, pass the total number for the, townwide fire district. And then and then set the contract amounts later, but we'd have to have another public hearing. So that's what when Dan was talking about setting the size of the pie. All right, so we've set that, so it's really 2 different discussions. So I know the folks from Etna and Freeville are here, and they want to talk about their budgets still. But so first of all, we can set the total budget for all the fire contracts and then have a separate discussion with them about whether they want to present the information to us to expand from that. But that's separate from the total budget vote.
Okay.
So we'll do then we'll just do it. So what we'll do is I think go through these unless anyone's got any other amendments to these resolutions, like to the totals we discussed and published. We'll pass these first and then go right into the two individual department contracts. And then we'll have to set a public hearing on all four of the contracts for either, oh yeah, for December, I guess we could do it maybe the first meeting of December or something. Okay. So you guys understand what I'm talking about? Like what we're talking about, we're setting the levy for the whole entire fire district that's separate from the contract amounts. So, all right. So close the public hearing on the budgets. All right. Since there don't appear to be any further changes. All right, so first off would be adopting the assessment. A resolution to adopt the 2025 assessment and special district roles. So I'll move that.
I'll second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, all right. So second is resolution to adopt the 2025 budget and special district budgets. And these are the total amounts. So move that.
Second. Who wants to second? I don't want to.
Second.
Leo seconds.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay. Third resolution is to re-levy delinquent water and sewer amounts. So move that.
You go. Spring. You get
I get the last one.
Yeah, you get the last one.
Yes.
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 Yes, all right, and then the next one is to authorize the ambulance contract, since we are done with that one. So that's for a total of $1,222,659. I'll move that.
I will second that.
Everyone, yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
yes, all right, and just so with the ambulance, we're still gonna be having to deal with the issue of them running to every other jurisdiction beyond what I think equates to mutual aid.
We're not done with that issue.
We're not done with that, so, yeah, that's gonna be on our plates all next year.
Greg Mezzi and I have been trying to schedule a meeting. I guess he's pretty tied up with county business, but I
Yeah.
keep throwing dates to him and hoping he'll pick one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, cause I had, I was actually talking about this with, someone from like Department of State at this infrastructure conference the other night. So, yeah, they're into everything. They ask about what's going on, so it's. Yeah. And it's a big deal as more developments coming, residential developments comes to Dryden, we need to keep the ambulance here.
Yes, I mean, not to go too far into this, we had passed a resolution asking, a TCOG asking the county to declare ambulance an essential service.
Right.
And the county is to do that in their early December meeting. And that's one more towards fortifying our state reps to call for this, and there's not. I
Yeah.
mean, our state senator and our state assemblyman are both on board on this issue. I've discussed it. But we need others, and I think it could happen. But we get it declared an essential service, and then counties then have more, well, they'd have a mandate to make sure the service is established. And my argument to Greg is, let's get this going now. Why wait?
No, sooner and better.
Anyway.
All right, so next up, I guess Linda, do you and Tom and everybody wanna come up and I guess, I know you were on the meeting last week. And I sent everyone all the things have been provided by everybody, so the board has
Yep.
has what you gave me the other night, they have what Freeville gave to me, everything, everybody's looking at the same stuff.
Okay. I hope everybody
So just, you know,
appreciates it.
like, so we'll hear from you guys and then from, I know from Freeville too, and then, like I said, we're gonna have to schedule public hearing on all four of the different fire contract amounts, but so we'll be back again in a couple of weeks, but this is the, you know, I want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of explain what they were talking about last week and that
Thank
way
you
we
for
have more.
sharing the documentation. That's
Yeah.
very helpful.
Okay, so hopefully everybody had a chance to look it over. Well, I appreciate, you know, all the help that Barnard Freeville has given. We have want to point out that it was the town board who wanted it to be them activated on the first activation of our department. Second of all, I mean, we have worked and made great strides, great improvements, although it's not 100%. You know, we've missed 34 calls totally out of 168. But I don't know, we are trying to get a bunker program in, we're trying to make improvements to get people on calls, on time and everything. But we run a blue light. It takes time to get from wherever you are when the call goes off to your point of where the call is. So I mean, you take away from our money, you know, you're gonna put us in the same boat as Freeville says they're in with their deficit of their equipment and everything. We've made great strides in everything that we've done. We've gone on the smallest budget for the 20 years that I've been president of the company. I have one time came back to this board and said, we need a new roof on our training tower. Other than that, I've worked through our budget, gotten everything that we've needed, never came back here and asked for more money for anything. We have everything in our department bought, paid for. I have a plan for our building. I have talked to the bank. I mean, everything is in place, but I can't put our department in debt with this turmoil. And the town is the one who asked for the first activation. Now I'm going to ask the town to have the other departments activated on the second activation. So we have a chance to have our people get there without having any turmoil. We're all supposed to work together. We're not supposed to be pointing fingers of who got there first and who did this and who did that. That's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Or who arrived in their personal vehicle. We have people that are arriving, it was on the list.
Yeah,
They indicated people arriving in their personal vehicle and not bringing a piece of apparatus or an EMS truck or.
And I do arrive in my personal vehicle. I am the top EMT and I have a med bag. I have oxygen. I have AED. So I asked the board to give us our budget as we stated, because we are the lowest paid budget. And, you know, I understand that they've made extra calls, but they've made extra calls because of you guys requesting them to be on first activation.
Did you want me to show the Excel sheet that you put,
No, I mean, you can show this Excel sheet or you can share it with Mason and
yeah,
Mike and Greg.
because I know you sent it to, the whole board, the one you sent, last.
You mean the incident attendance?
Yeah, the one with the two
Yeah.
Excel sheets where you put notes in,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you'd like to share.
you sent it to the board too, so.
Yeah, we went through our records and there were 20 calls that. Freeville had 28 calls of no responses. And I need that page because I don't have that. Freeville that said that we had, we just went through all of the no response calls and. It indicated that there were 28 no responses and we actually, there were 8. They still responded to 20, but there were 8 calls that we actually had members on scene. And then Varna indicated 31, but it wasn't all of 2024. It was part of 2023. They did a 1-year depiction. And so it's actually, they've only been on 17 calls that we were not able to respond to.
And what time frame?
I'm sorry.
From
from
January till date.
24 to
No.
end of
October.
October.
And this is fire and E EMS?
We've made all of our fire calls. It's only EMS calls.
And right now, hopefully I have 2 people going through the CFR class, so that will hopefully get them through that and we'll have them on board. They've taken in 5 new members recently since the strategic plan and all that we did for you guys. So we have 5 new members that have come through the door. 3 of them are experienced firefighters.
We also discussed with our EMS captain who orders our supplies, what 37, 40, or even 50, 59 that they add up to. And even all of these calls would be just for supplies and refueling the trucks would be maybe $1,000 for each department.
Who said that?
Our EMS captain, who orders all of our EMS supplies. Like, I mean, you use oxygen, you use the AEDs, you use gauze, bandages, but most of the stuff is like, you have a blood pressure cuff that's used on every rescue call. You have stethoscope, you have, everyone is already trained in CPR, first aid, stop the bleed. Like, there's not a lot of supplies that goes with rescue calls. If someone is having a hard time breathing, you're putting oxygen on them. Like, there's not a lot of supplies that go with rescue calls. I mean, there's supplies that go with rescue calls, but it's not a significant value.
Not sure. Maybe I'm misunderstanding your point. So I thought you said it was $1,000 a call
Not $1,000 a call, $1,000 overall
overall. Okay.
for the 37 or 40 calls. It's about $1,000 of or less to restock in medicals and any supplies that you may have used.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So we asked the board to continue to give us our budget as we put forth. I guess, do you have any questions?
Well, I mean, so you were asking them to I guess, put the other departments on a second activation, but like, and I'm looking at some of the notes. Like, you're getting toned like at the first activation anyway, right?
Yeah, we're all getting told
We're all
on the first
Right.
act, so Varna, Freeville and Etna,
But,
we're all at rescue calls.
right, but if you're toned on, so I'm just, some of the notes on here where I'm looking at the file you gave us. Where. Like it says there was a response from, so this is a Varna, I think the Varna file. But if you're, if they're set, how long after, I guess. If they're, say Varna's toned second instead of first. Like, how long is the time that goes between the two?
7.
Really?
I think they said 7 minutes.
The 7 minutes? Cause like there's a couple of these notes.
For 5, 3, 3.
Okay, so,
Explain that again. 5, 3, and 3. What does that mean?
So you get your first activation, we wait 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
To do your second activation, if nobody falls and moves. And then it's 3 minutes after that before the next one.
So that's when it goes to another department?
So if they told your department.
Yeah.
And nobody responds within 5 minutes, then that would be the second activation. And if it's set up that way, then they would tone the primary and
And the secondary. Okay,
secondary.
gotcha.
And response is calling saying, I got it, right? I'm on my way.
But on our activation, the ambulance is dispatched automatically. So our very first app. So the minute
Well-
our pagers go off, so on first activation, the ambulance is dispatched on first activation automatically.
On ones that are, on what type of calls though? All of them or?
EMS calls,
On all
all
EMS calls.
EMS calls.
Cause I mean, the only thing I see with that is there's like, and just, again, I'm looking at this Varna one, there's things that are. I mean, times I would be like. Sometimes third activation type time. When you're arriving. I don't know, I mean, you know. And some of these are. Like chest pains or cardiac or things like that. So I don't. I mean, these ones, those aren't alpha calls, correct?
No,
No, we don't want
Right. Does anybody go on alpha calls? Chris?
Freeville and Barnacle.
Hmm. Dispatch?
Right information, they can exactly tell that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so they could tone only Aetna and it's an alpha call. Wouldn't that be a problem?
So we don't respond to alpha calls, so.
I know, but if you were. I mean, I. Could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's why we said that other departments would be toned first because of the alpha call.
well, if that's the case, then why aren't they just toned on the alpha calls?
Just on the alpha calls and well,
well, I mean, but the responses that we got, like the thing that I got from Justin, since you don't do alphas, it wouldn't have included alphas.
Right.
Right, so it's not even an issue with what everyone's talking about right now. We only are matching up the non-alpha stuff anyway.
true. But as Christina just said, what if there's
Yeah.
and what if it's misclass?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, but we can't be held responsible for dispatch. That's a dispatcher mistake,
Sure.
that's not a. It runs to the family.
And why don't you guys do alpha? On the-
The right ambulance. They got. Going on 12/15. We had a meeting with them, Austin, the man, who at the time. Said. Was not
Who's that?
necessary to have a response on alpha calls from the fire department. So, at that time, Aetna and Freeville both. Got doing alpha calls. And it was like that for quite a few years. And it's only been. Last. 4 or 5 years maybe, Freeville started going alpha. It's been longer than that.
I've been chief going on 6 years now, Alpha before I.
And I don't.
right, anyway, listen, yeah, so, all right.
Maybe someone should explain to Dan and the board what an alpha call normally consists of.
Just basically a sick person call, lift assist and. Not any real emergency.
It's like a non-life threatening.
It's a
Yes.
non-life threatening.
So they wouldn't normally need a full ambulance. They would just need help with getting off the floor or
Sometimes,
something like that.
sometimes they're picked off the floor and transported. You know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they got to roll anyway.
Thought we were trying to get away.
Away from what?
Oh, I'm thinking about what when the county presented and they were talking about having. More EMT type response for things like that were non-emergency, so that the ambulances weren't getting tied up in non-emergent calls.
The county's not doing the service in our town.
I know, I'm just processing,
It's for
sorry.
the other towns.
They're actually, the county's planning on adding 5 more vehicles to that.
They sure are, but they're not planning on covering Dryden.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, does anybody else have any other questions for that? Right now?
Not right now.
Okay, so, yeah, all right, so then I guess Greg, Greg and Mike, did you want to come up and kind of explain what you all were talking about last week? Cause I know everyone has the files that you guys you made, so,
So I'm just gonna maintain what we had last week. I'm asking for my budget because we're running more calls. We are already at 200 or 400 and so we're gonna be approaching 500 calls by the end of this year. And so the number of calls that we have exceed any other department in the town of Dryden. Dryden is the next closest number, and we're 60 ahead of them. And if you go by what we're talking about is how much our budget averages out per how much we make per call. We're the lowest paid department in the entire town of Dryden by a lot. And all we need the money to maintain our capital reserves so that we can replace equipment, so that we can gear our people, so that we can keep things moving in the direction that we're going. We are taking on more calls, and part of that is that, and that was the point last week, is that we are taking on more. Our calls, we were talking about this the other day, our calls have gone from 280 to 320 to 450 calls in a matter of 4 years. We're more than doubled, but our budget hasn't done that. And we're trying to get where we need to be. Now, they ran numbers. I mean, you asked, we provided, ran the numbers, going by the rip and runs. And the rip and runs from the county, they attach units when they respond. And we took the calls from January 1 for us and Varna, and Varna's in agreement. We took the numbers from January 1st. They missed 48 of 111 calls, missed, no response, 48 of 111. It's 43% of their calls. All we're asking for is our budget.
We sat right here last year and stated that
Oh.
you can't go through the rip and runs because they don't match what you do in the station. That was your main push.
The rip and runs do. The rip and runs do because you can't adjust the rip and runs. They attach. When the county attaches a unit, that goes on the rip and run.
And the county only attaches the units that has a name attached to a radio. And I told the board this for the last 10 years.
Well, the bottom line is, we're looking for our budget. We need our budget to maintain. We're running the calls. Varna's running the calls. I mean, that's the main reason. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and get into a match with Aetna about this. The numbers are the numbers. You've got the numbers. We maintain, and we agree with Aetna. You can't count on the county numbers, but you can go through and you can look at the rip and runs because those don't change. You can't adjust the rip and runs. So the numbers are the numbers. And whether it's 43% or whether it's 28% of the calls that you're missing. I mean, that's a lot of calls. And when we start talking about that, now you're putting the public in danger. And all it's gonna take is a lawsuit and get.
Public in danger.
You're putting the public in danger because you're delaying patient care, Tom, you know that.
Okay, my person who drives that pickup truck at 98 miles an hour every time I go.
You just, you want to make an argument.
Tom,
You're making an argument and I'm not gonna do that.
we don't.
But when you go 2 activations or 3 activations, you're delaying patient care. And when you're talking Bravo, Charlie and Delta calls, somebody not breathing, somebody in cardiac arrest, when you're waiting 10, 15 minutes to get there, they're already dead. There's no chance. But that's beside the point. I'm looking for our budget. That was the bottom line. And we have the reason and we have the numbers. And the numbers don't lie. The numbers are there.
All right, so do y'all have any questions about what they?
Wait,
Okay. Well, hang on, I want to find out if they want to have any questions for Mike or Rebecca first.
No, I think we've been given quite a bit of information, so.
Okay.
Can I did it pretty well.
Alpha calls? Just real quick. So full disclosure, Mike and Linda are both far more experienced EMTs than I am. I've only been an EMT for almost a year. My dad is an emergency physician, so I've been around peripherally for quite a while, but my license has only been since February. Sometimes calls are only as good as information as dispatch gets. So we've had, even just over the past couple of years, sometimes falls calls will be toned out as an out, right? And sometimes it is somebody just tripped and fell and twisted their ankle, and that's a legitimate thing. But sometimes we also run into things like hypoglycemia, heart conditions. You know, I've had a patient that just said, oh, you know, it's just a fall. Then we put, looked at her back, and it was completely covered in bruises from some other incident. So alpha calls for us, I think, as an EMT are worthwhile. That's I have the luxury of, having a more flexible schedule than, people that work 9 to 5, so I can respond to more of those. But there are instances where getting someone with eyes on what the situation actually is really important. I think, from a medical perspective, because then we can update the ambulance, or we can, say slower response, something like that. It's just good for getting information and, increasing our care. That's my general thought on it. As far as the alpha call level.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right, Michelle, you had a question?
Yeah.
Well, if you can just maybe just come a little closer though, because I don't know if anyone who's out in the Zoom world will be able to hear.
So how many people do you have working 9 to 5 and are able to leave their work to run your EMS?
That have a 9 to 5 job?
Yes.
I don't understand how that's even relevant.
Well,
Are you able to provide patient care in an absorbent amount of time or not?
well,
That's the
as a
question.
volunteer agency, you cannot meet 100% of the costs. If you have a full working department that everyone works 9 to 5, and it doesn't work. I work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, or whatever my schedule is. There's days that I go to Syracuse. Yes, I'm fully administrative, but if I'm there and I have to do CPR, I'm capable of doing CPR.
Nobody's arguing. And nobody's arguing what you guys are doing.
Well, you kind of are. Because,
I'm arguing the budget.
like, I understand.
We
that
all
you
do the
want to
same
do
job.
The budget, and I understand, but your calls, how many of your calls are EMS calls? And how many of your calls are fire calls?
Right now, we are a little over half EMS calls, and we have more EMS calls this year than we have fire. Last year, we had more fire than we had EMS.
So it does fluctuate, but.
Fluctuates back and forth about half.
But you put a whole spreadsheet together, you and Karna, and you didn't even come and talk to us. But that's not the point. But you put a whole spreadsheet together of, we arrived in our personal vehicle, so you're going to say that we didn't get people there, and I understand that we may not have gotten people there into your timely fashion, but you have a duty truck. We don't even have a duty truck.
We were making our calls when we didn't have a duty truck.
And, but, again, we have a full working department. The number of volunteers that everyone has, you have the same volunteers that show up. We're trying to train them, we're trying to get them elevated and educated, and trying to get them to respond to calls. It's not the easiest thing.
I understand that. I'm not arguing that.
Right.
The fact is that Varna's doing it, Dryden's doing it, and Freeville's doing it. And now Varna's doing it and Freeville's doing it for Aetna, but it's not just been this year. It's been for quite a while now. And I'm not the only one. I'll just get this straight. I'm not the only one that's talking about this. I'm the only one that finally said something. Dryden and Varna have said the same thing, right?
Mike, you know as well as I do, I was on that call on that drill.
Yeah.
You look back on the times on that call.
Mhm.
You know, I called in, you heard me call in on the scene and everything, and
Yeah.
yes, it took me some time to get over there. But I
understand.
responded. But you look back on the county thing, and it does not say I was there.
We have you there. We have you there in your personal vehicle because you write down, we write down.
You write
We
it
have
down.
been writing down when someone has been there and when someone hasn't.
Yeah,
So this conversation.
yeah.
Back and forth.
I'm not.
Should be part of the.
Guys,
Yeah, guys, I think this, yeah, so it's sort of like a
Getting past-
internal kind of thing for you guys.
Everything we gave it.
Yeah. Okay,
That's all.
all right. Yeah. Okay, so. I mean, what we're gonna do then is, we're gonna have to have the public hearing though on the contracts December 12th, but I guess next. I would, we could talk about it again next week. Between here, but I would use that time, like if you have any. Specific questions or anything, I mean, both, you could get together with, anybody.
Yep.
And I get more, or ask them about the stuff that they provided to us, if you need to look at it again. But next week we'll need to figure out the number to propose to put into the public hearing. Notice.
Yep, and then so we'll do the notice and then we'll do the hearing on the 12th.
On December 12th, right? But that's where, so. Remember, I mean, yeah, so anyway, so come next week with some idea of. How you wanna do this? And then we'll debate it.
Yep.
Okay, but in the meantime, if you have more questions for. Any of the departments, including Neptune is not here, go ahead and ask. Like, do your research. Okay. But yeah, and thanks for clarifying everything that you know, I met with both this week on my own, so. That's all I got right now.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. All right, and then. Are we gonna, for next week, are we gonna? I guess we have the Freeze Road FPAF,
Yeah, we have that. We just have to leave it open for
yeah,
a month.
number. Oh, yeah, Chris, yeah, sorry. Sorry for that, Chris, do you have anything you wanna, talk to us about?
No, you're on the agenda, so.
You're on the agenda, so I mean, I
We
guess.
don't have to, but you know, we want to
Yeah,
include you.
but one of the, I suppose the one thing is I know you had sent an email to everybody and about the town part of the strategic plan.
Sorry, I couldn't hear
You had the town strategic plan related to emergency.
Yep, still working on that. I mean, there's been so many things going on that I write something and then something changes. And it doesn't look like the dust is really settled in terms of what, you were just hearing. So, that's gonna take a little bit longer. But I'm working on it every day.
Okay.
Um,
I know, like, part of this is like for me, I mean, we talked, but it was about how a big one is how to meet the fleet needs.
Yep.
Because everybody, that's something we have to figure out.
Yeah, I'd like to have a conversation with you at some point about.
Yep. Yeah, I welcome
There's.
having a conversation with any and all of you.
Is it possible to see even an outline, a draft, your ideas?
Yeah, I can write an outline, yes, and get that to you soon.
Doesn't have to be polished.
Yeah,
Well,
so that we can
it's-
sort of frame the.
It'll be just an outline. I mean, this is a hugely complicated and ever-changing thing. So, I'm sorry?
Keep it simple. Don't get
You can't, you really can't, because if you try and keep it simple, I mean, you just had an argument between several departments about facts. So it's complicated. There's a lot of emotions involved, a lot of moving parts to it. Okay, and I'm doing my best to, put it in bullet points. Okay, and to make it easy to, digest, and, you can read some of it and then come back to it rather than a very long narrative. But, it is very, very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts to this. And I'm not gonna kid you that you can, just dash off something real quick. You saw some of those strategic plans. So that's the truth. I'm meeting with Justin Vian tomorrow. I've talked to him today. As I told you, there's 3 departments, well, 2 really from the town of Dryden and McLean, that were deployed down to that very large Orange County, spreading into New Jersey. Fire, my expectation is they'll be back tomorrow night. There's a possibility that additional Tompkins County departments will be activated and sent down there. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's admirable that they're stepping up and doing that. But this is a huge fire. There's already been 1 firefighter killed. This makes that fire in Lansing look like, nothing. This is 100 times as big as the fire in Lansing. It involves crown fires where the entire forests are on fire. This is the big leagues. So it just something to be aware of. You've got people in this town that are stepping up and willingly going down there to help out. It's part of the New York State Mutual Aid Plan, and it's our turn to help. And hopefully we won't need the favor returned anytime soon. So about that tomorrow, and I'll keep you informed.
Right. I don't want to minimize the complexity of putting together a town fire plan. Okay? But there is enough information. Each of the department put up some information already out. So somewhere is putting all that information together and give us sort of a rough idea.
Yep, I can do
I'm
it.
not asking for a full.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Just a simple.
I will do that. I will do that. I will provide it just as soon as I can.
To also have this conversation that is becoming more complicated than it should be.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, cool.
Anything else?
No,
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Because I didn't have anything else on the agenda. Oh, well, yeah, I mentioned that already. That's next week. Yeah, it's next week for the Freeze Road Bridge. Maybe that'll get built, eventually.
2026.
Gotta make it there. Okay,
We will be around.
yeah. All right, all right, so I'm gonna motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thanks. All right, thanks, everybody. That's, and Michelle sent it over. Oh, she sent it yesterday. I can send that her email again.
She sent it to you and you shared it.
No, she sent it to the board, whole board too, but I'll re-forward it.
I think we should.
just re-forward it to
that's what we
everybody.
should have. Well, yeah.
That's right.
It's, so there's, no, I mean, there's, I mean, it's just what that guy said, like, you have to give that certified. like, everyone
What's
said.
that?
We're gonna.
Anybody want to-